Hello, my book lovers! Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be trying something that I'm really excited for. So, I've been saying, I think every year I say one of my big goals of the year is to diversify my genres and read more genres and to not just say, oh, I read a bunch of romances this year and that was basically it. And instead say, yeah, I read one of every genre. That's so awesome. I never do that though. That never happens. I always stick to my basic fantasy, romance, and literary fiction genres. This year, we are switching it up with this video. So, what we're going to be doing today is I put every single genre that I could kind of think of, but that's not too specific, onto a wheel, and I'm going to spin it, and it's going to give me a genre, and then I'm going to pick a book, whether it's already here physically or I have it on my Kindle already, or not, I'll try to get it onto my Kindle, but my goal is to try to not go buy physical books because I need to save money. Your girl's getting kind of broke. I need my income to start coming back in this summer, which it will, but until then, I want to save some money. I want to start, I need to save money. So, this way, I can kind of get rid of other books that I've read as well. That I need to read as well. As well. Oh my god, why is my voice cracking like I'm going through puberty? If I go through puberty again, no thanks. That was a horrible experience. Okay, back to the topic at hand, which is this really pretty wheel that I made. So this is my wheel. I use the Spin the Wheel app, and I made this color scheme pink because it's cute. Yeah. So the different genres that I have on my wheel are young adult, literary fiction, historical fiction. Since there is a very big difference between historical fiction and literary fiction, I found that they needed to be separated. Horror, thriller, mystery, because those three are very different. They are not the same thing. Sci-fi, fantasy, romance, nonfiction, and memoir. I didn't put memoir in the same thing as nonfiction because some memoirs are kind of written in a way that kind of is, they added fiction to it sometimes, and sometimes memoirs are really a life story being told, and other times it's more like Crying in H Mart, which is or The Glass Castle, and the way that it's told doesn't necessarily feel for example, Matthew Perry's book where he's specifically laying out specific facts and you're going through his entire life, while some are just focusing on a certain point of the life, or writing it in a way that feels what that was a real story. That's crazy. So I needed to separate memoir from nonfiction as well for that fact, because nonfiction could also mean I just decide to read a science book, but I don't have the energy to do that. Not with all the studying I'm currently doing. My brain feels like it's going to implode. I can't wait for exams to be over. By the end of this video, they better be over. I mean, they should be. Why would my exams go past April? If my exams end up going past April, there's something deeply wrong with the world, and I don't know what's going on anymore. So, yeah. Okay, so let's spin the wheel for the first book. I'm so excited! Please give me something good. Please give me something good. I got a thriller! Yes! I need a thriller. I need a thriller in my life. And I have options! Okay, wait, this is perfect. Okay. So, I have some options for thrillers, so I'm just gonna go get those. Okay, I don't have a huge amount of options, but I have I have two options. But I don't know if one of them kind of works. I feel the other one's more mystery than thriller. So I feel I have a distinct winner here. And I think I kind of know which one I want to read, but I'm still gonna let you guys know the options. So the first option, which is probably not the one that I'm gonna do, because it's more mystery than it is thriller. And it's also I'd want to buy the book, and it's... So I read Finley Donovan is Killing It. I really liked it. And my mom fell obsessed with this series. I've talked about this before in other videos. You guys probably know that by now. And she went on and read the entire series. The thing that irks me the most is that she read it and then she bought the rest of it except for book 2 because she audiobooked it. I was like, there's no point in buying the book anymore. Oh, but I'll buy the next 2. So now I have 1, 3, and 4, but no 2. And I'm not going to be like her and just like audiobook it. That's not happening. If I have the physicals, I'm doing the physicals. And it really bothers me that I'm missing one color. But also, like, what color is the other one? Is there like a pretty blue that fits with this? Because like these 3 colors are so gorgeous together. So yeah. So, but I don't think I'm gonna do it for A because I would buy the second book, and that means I have to buy it on Amazon because like it does not exist in my Indigo stores at all, or in like my Hanu place. I mean, like, why would it be in Hanu Play? But like, not even at Indigo's. That sucks. So I would have to order it. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. And anyways, it's more mystery, and I have the perfect thriller right here. I bought this not that long ago when I was doing like my Project Hail Mary in Classics Hall. I got Murder Bimbo. My God, today my voice is not working. Murder Bimbo by Rebecca Novak. So, from what I understand of this book, it's like a prostitute kills like a politician or something along those lines. But it's like a Gone Girl situation. So, like, maybe she is at fault, maybe she isn't at fault. Like, I don't know. Just the government is putting her under. But, like, is it really? Or is she lying? Or is the government lying to everybody and she's like the Gone? I don't know. But just it's being said that it's the Gone Girl for the Luigi Mangione era. That sounds so appealing. And it's told in 3 acts apparently. So that means that like I'm gonna learn something new in each act, and that's gonna change my perspective or something. I don't know, but it sounds really good. But I'm so intrigued. Intrigued. Oh my God, I'm gonna throw myself across the room. Okay. Yeah, it sounds so interesting. First of all, yes, I did immediately flock to this because of the cover. And I was like, Murder Bimbo. What does that mean? And then I read the blurb and I was like, sold. Sold. Like, that sounds so interesting. I love it when it changes from act to act. So, like, Gone Girl, I loved it when it changed. And I was like, holy heck, I have to reread everything now. So I hope that this makes me feel the same way. It's also incredibly short, which is what I need at this time of crisis. So, yes. So I'll let you guys know what I think about Murder Bimbo as we go.
Makeup, something I had to earn, but it's water in the morning and letting my body learn. This clean skin, soft light, this rest that shows in my eyes. This is how I hold my shoulders when I stop living rushed.
Hey, so I have officially finished reading Murder Bimbo by Rebecca Novak, and I'm unfortunately giving it a 2.75 stars. I had kind of high expectations going into this. Not even really. I was just really excited for it. The premise was intriguing so much, and I was just so excited to jump into this and to like have this thing that's like supposed to be like Gone Girl, which I really adored, and it just was really hard to get through, and the writing is just really where I couldn't get past it. The writing is just genuinely not my taste whatsoever. I don't think that it's professional writing quality that we can see in modern literary books or even old ones. Like, Especially considering that I've read so many like classics in the past few months, to be reading this, which is all tell and no show for the first two parts of the novel, is so hard, and it's just very much, I don't know, especially as a writer, telling myself all the time, like, show, don't tell, show, don't tell. It just really aggravates me when I don't see that same basic rule being applied to another book. I'm really trying not to be mean. I'm sorry if I sound mean. It's just, this is like my biggest ick in a book that I had. And like, I know, like, I could have DNF'd it. But like, first of all, I was thinking of this video and I wanted to give it a chance, especially considering the storyline intrigued me so much. And it's like only 210 pages. And also, like, I bought this with my money. Like, I didn't want to just like have bought it for no reason. So yeah, I think that part 3 is definitely so much better than the other two parts, and it definitely redeems it a bit. I think probably one of the big reasons why I think the writing wasn't as great as it could have been was because part 1 and part 2 are entirely composed of emails that the narrator, Murder Bimbo, is sending to people. And I think that might be why it's very telling, because like in an email you don't show, you just tell. And I understand that realistically, but in a book that's just not enjoyable to read. So I think that that's why those parts were so hard to get through. I really do like the fact that every single part you're just basically getting the same story, but retold in a very different way from a completely different point of view. And turns out the story wasn't that way at all. And like you get to the end of part 2 and you're like, okay, so that's the real story. And it's like, oh wait, it's not. And like that was intriguing, and I liked how it changed so much from one place to another that it didn't feel repetitive. Like the characters were definitely repetitive, but you know, the storyline wasn't, which was enjoyable at least. But I really like part 3 because we get more inner monologue than anything else, and I liked the inner monologue. Like there were definitely parts I didn't love, but there were other parts where I felt it was very strong, especially when she was talking about like feminist notions. That I really liked, or when she would talk about her life as a sex worker, that I found very interesting, and I liked hearing that. And that was written in a in a well written literary way that it was enjoyable to read. And when she would describe her relationship with DC, like how that grows throughout the book and what it ends up being in part 3, that I really enjoyed. And I really enjoyed how she would talk about the conversations they would have with each other and the feminist notions around that. That I really liked. But I think that there's definitely a lot of disjointed parts. There's definitely a lot of plot holes that are still left in this book. Like I'm still kind of confused by the ending. And like I don't love the ending. I feel like it kind of means the whole book was for nothing, which maybe was the point. But considering the whole book was not my cup of tea, it just kind of aggravated me a bit more. I'm happy it was a short read. I wouldn't have made the book any longer than this. But I do like the subjects that it touches upon. I just think that like it could have been done in a different way. But I am happy to be done with this book. So now that Murder Bimbo is done, that means we can move on to doing the next wheel spin. Let's spin that wheel. Romance. I need to learn how to romance in these times of exams, even though I totally haven't just read like the entire Briar Youth series in the span of a month. Oops. So we're just gonna have to find another one. I feel like I don't want to do hockey romance. Like I'm done with it. We're gonna go another route in our romances. I think I have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm gonna like look around to see if I have anything physically in my TBR. So now I have the book on my Kindle. Okay, so the book that I am going to read for my romance is one that I've had on my Kindle that I've wanted to read, which is Between Us by Mahari Mahari. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm really sorry if I'm not. McFarlane. I've heard wonderful things about this author. There's so many of her books that I've wanted to save. Like I keep seeing like different collages on Pinterest of her books, and I love the collages. And the like blurb of what this book is about seems so interesting. I'm really intrigued. So basically, he, from what I remember, could be so wrong. I really shouldn't do this, but I mean, I'll just tell you guys if I was right later. He goes on a TV show and he says their whole like romantic life on the TV show. So then she has to go like fix it. Honestly, I don't know why I even try. Forget that I said anything. I'm gonna read it and let you guys know what the story's actually about. Hey, so I finally finished reading Between Us, and I absolutely love this. I think it's such a refreshing romance and a take on how to write romance books. It's just, I've never read anything like it, like in terms of romance. It's not about the central romance in general. Like, yes, there's romance. Yes, it's, oh, who's she gonna end up with? Who, like, who what's going to happen, are they going to get back together, like all these little things, but that's not the central part of it. The central part of it is really about the relationships and how it is to be in relationships with different people, whether it's your friends or a significant other or your parents. And I think that's so beautifully done. It's like weaved in such a perfect way that like the romance is a plot, but it's also a subplot at the same time. It's, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so beautifully done. I've literally never read anything like this, and I absolutely love it. And I plan on reading more of her books after this one because this has just been like absolutely amazing to read. I finished this so fast. I like it was so good. So I'm going to give it a 4.2 out of 5 stars. There's just so many things that I can say about it that I liked. Like I absolutely love the writing. I think the writing is really great. There were certain portions where I was like, I don't like this. It's slow. It doesn't feel as good. Like there were some chapters where these amazing scenes going on with amazing lines, and then you would go to the next chapter and you'd be so disappointed and be kind of like, ugh, really sucks. So I feel like that kind of portion kind of made it, but it was only at the beginning. I found that as the book continued on, those scenes went away. So it's kind of normal being a writer. I know that those beginning chapters are like the toughest ones to write. And I really like how that first chapter is done in this book. Like at the beginning, I wasn't too sure about it, but the themes brought up in that first chapter come back throughout the entirety of the book. Different themes throughout it are brought back and everything. It's just so well done that I like you have to read it to understand what I'm talking about. But like it's so well done. I like absolutely adored it. The characters are amazing. The characters are so real. They're so human. That's what I like about the writing as well. Is it feels so human and you just resonate with these characters. They're not perfect. They're not too imperfect. They're literally just real human beings and it feels like I'm just having a friend tell me the drama that's going on in her life and everything. Like that's kind of what this book feels like. It's just so well done in that way. I have to say there are like a few little portions that I do wish kind of had changed that I felt like at the end were left unfinished a bit. So like her relationship with her friends, like I kind of wish there'd been a tiny little bit more about that when we got to the end. The thing that I really wish we had more of is her relationship with her mother. It's so well done throughout the whole book, and by the end we have kind of like this not reckoning, but like an event happens, causes her mother to reveal something to her that she did not know. And she kind of doesn't fully resent her mother for it. She kind of just accepts, like, this is just the way that it is. But I wish she would have had a scene with her mom where she would have expressed her feelings and said, like, I don't appreciate you using me. And I don't appreciate being your second favorite and that being blatantly shown to me all the time. I wish that there had been a little conversation about that because that never ended up happening. And I feel like that would have been literally perfect to just include that as a little scene. But I absolutely love like the structure of this book. I think the structure is just phenomenal. I love that at the beginning you're so certain of the one way it's gonna go, and then it switches on you. It's just so perfectly done. Because on top of it being a romance, you kind of have a bit of a mystery because the whole premise of the book, because the first time that I explained this, I was like way off about what this book is about. So let me explain what this book is about. So this book is about Rosin. Is that I don't that might not be how you say her name. I have no clue how to pronounce her name. That's just how I accepted that I'm going to pronounce her name. So Rosin is with her group of friends, and they go to this like really fancy manor for the weekend because they're celebrating an engagement. They're one of the friends' birthdays, and her significant other, his name is Joe. This also that his name is Joe is so perfect because I don't trust a man named Joe. First, you is named Joe, and now this Joe is named Joe. It's official. Joes suck. I'm sorry for anyone who's named Joe who might be watching this video, but your name sucks. Yeah. So so Joe's new show is going to be airing that same weekend, and it's called Hunter. She doesn't know anything about what Hunter is about or anything, so they go to the manor, and then we have a bunch of friend drama that goes on at that manor. It takes a good chunk of time before we even get to the Hunter episode airing. Like we have the first night, there's drama that goes on, there's drama between the friends, and which is so entertaining and well done that I went through the portions at the beginning where I was like, I freaking hate this friend, but I grew to love her because I realized I hated her because I kind of see myself in her. So if you guys understand, if you've read this book, I'm talking about Gina. Maybe you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, so then finally, after a bunch of drama that happens, I won't say anything so that you guys can enjoy the drama as well as I did. We get to finally to the Hunter episode, and it starts and it airs. And as she's watching the episode, she realizes that a bunch of things happening in the episodes are things that she told Joe in confidence about her family, and he used it without telling her in his show. And that leads her to believe what else in this show is real that he has not told her about. Because in the show, the character goes through a bunch of cheating, and he's constantly cheating on his longtime girlfriend. And now she starts to wonder, is he cheating on me? And throughout that whole weekend, even before the show, she was starting to be like, me and Joe are drifting apart. We are no longer what we used to be, especially since they started becoming famous. He has not been the same person that he was. And she has already kind of thoughts maybe we're going to be ending it. But after finding out about this show, this kind of pushes her to an edge. So she starts to unravel and tries to figure out, is Joe actually cheating on her? Did he cheat on her? Is there anything from this show that is actually true in real life? So she kind of goes down this spiral into trying to figure it out. And you're left wondering, is she right? Did he actually do this? Or is she just spiraling and Joe actually never did all of this, and she's just projecting her feelings of not wanting to be in the relationship onto this. And it's just so well done, because the entire time I was like so certain of one thing, but then situation changed and I was like, wait, now I'm not certain, is it the other thing? And it's just so well done. So you kind of have like a mystery aspect to it, which is so interesting, and I loved it so much. Like no romance book has ever had me like second guessing myself this much, or even guessing in general. So I absolutely love that aspect. So I really recommend this book. It's just so well done. Like, read it to figure out, is Joe actually cheating on her? What is this drama going on in the friend group? Who does she end up with at the end of the book? Like, does she get back together with Joe? Is there another person that comes into her life? Like, it's worth it. I am absolutely excited by this author. I'm going to actually read you some quotes from this book, because I have not been highlighting chapters in, not chapters, but like lines in books for so long. Like, it's crazy. So this is like chapter 8. She's at the manor and she's like descending the stairs before a supper that they're gonna have. And she caught the distant voice of Taylor Swift singing Champagne Problems. It was so opposite, briefly alone and lonely in her evening finery. It was momentarily as if she was starring in a Baz Luhrmann film. I absolutely love like that. What a way to describe something. To be like, yeah, imagine like you're in a Baz Luhrmann film. Like, that's just so great. And like for my Swifties, a Swiftie reference, obviously. I'm not gonna say when this one is because it's a bit later in the book. So once again, I'm probably gonna butcher her name, and that's not how you say it, but that's how I think I say it. So Rosin has oh my god, I can't speak. Okay. Rosin had rehearsed a more ambitious version. Oh my god, I literally can't talk today. I'm so sorry. Okay. Rosin had rehearsed a more ambitious version of the speech, and she immediately junked it. It turned out life was not like romantic comedy films. Making grand statements about your passion to an unwary person you knew well was not like that scene at the New Year party and When Harry Met Sally. It was excruciating. Like, it's beautiful. That feels like so human to think that. It's like, yeah, no, this is not like When Harry Met Sally said it was. And obviously they are referencing one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. So like, obviously. So we're gonna spin to see what the next category is. It's going to be the last category of books to read, because this challenge is over, guys. After this one more and we're over. So let's spin the wheel. Historical fiction. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't think I have a historical fiction with me. I'm gonna have to get something on my Kindle for this one. So this category is forcing me to go onto the Kindle again. It's fine. I'm going to do some research about historical fictions that are on my TBR, and I will get back. So after scouring my TBR, I finally found a book that interests me. So I'm actually really excited for this. I am going to read James by Percival Everett. So James is a retelling of Huckleberry Finn. So if you guys don't know what Huckleberry Finn is, what are you doing with your life? Like, come on, Huckleberry Finn is like is one of the classics. It was written by Mark Twain, and like, how did you not read that at school? I'm judging. Like, I'm legit judging you if you have not read Huckleberry Finn. So to read James, you should read Huckleberry Finn first, because it's going to. Oh my god! A goblin stole my tongue. Like, I'm under a curse. Like, what the hell? Why can't I talk today? Okay, so James is a retelling of Huckleberry Finn, but from Jim's perspective. So if you have read Huckleberry Finn and don't remember who Jim is the slave who becomes basically Huck's best friend, and also is Huck's. I can't say that. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'm not going to say anything, so I don't spoil anything. Either way, they end up going on like the whole series of Huckleberry Finn is the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I mean, half of his adventures take place with Jim. So this is from the perspective of Jim. So I'm really excited to see what it's like in the mind of an adult as well as a slave in the book. I feel like it's going to be really refreshing. And there is such high ratings for this book. Like the average, I think, is like 4.22 on Goodreads. Like that's insane. And everyone's like, this is the new classic. It won so many awards. It's a Pulitzer Prize finalist. Like that's insane. That's insane. So I've wanted to read this book for a really, really long time. So I'm really excited to get into it. Hey guys, so I've officially finished reading James. So my overall rating of this book is going to be a 3.75. I feel kind of bad only giving it that since it's so weird. I never film here. I don't want people to notice that I'm filming. Okay, because I'm filming on like my huge window in front of my house, so like everyone can like walk in front of my house and just see me filming right now. But like there's not action at this time, so it should be fine. So yeah, I'm giving it only a 3.75 stars, and I feel kind of bad only giving it that because this is a book that has I think almost a 4.3 rating in total on Goodreads. So it's very highly rated. And I understand why. It's definitely something I can imagine becoming a classic because it's written in a very beautiful way. The writing is impeccable. I love the writing. And I have to say, I do prefer this to Huckleberry Finn. I think that Huckleberry Finn was very confusing for me at times, which I think makes sense because we're in the perspective of a child. So, what a child does not think linearly, a child is very oblivious to the world. So, I loved having Jim's perspective instead and seeing things from his point of view. And it really changes the scope and the shape of how you imagine the whole world. And it's not like as not necessarily beautiful. I wouldn't say Huck it tells it beautifully. I think it's in like a childlike gaze through it. He still believes there's like good in this world, while Jim's just like, this world sucks, but I've accepted what it is, and this is what my life is like. So I think that that's very beautiful to see and to witness, and it's made it much more enjoyable for me personally than Huckleberry Finn because I just understood things. There were some scenes that I did not understand Huckleberry Finn that when I read it this time, I'm like, oh, that's what was happening? That makes so much more sense. And I think Jim is such a really good character. I think that we saw a very dimensional version of him in Huckleberry Finn, but this really brings him fully 3D. It's a beautiful character with a great personality who is stuck in this horrible time where he could have been moody and nasty and mean, but instead he's this comedic character that I absolutely love. I think that the reason why this is just not going to be a high starred read for me is for the sheer fact that this isn't my type of book. I after having read so many classics and getting a view of what the diversity of classics are, I think that I'm not this type of classic person. I'm not a fan of the Southern classics as much. I think the only one that I really enjoyed was How to Kill a Mockingbird. That was the only one that really spoke to me, but even then, we didn't lean into the Southern culture as much in that one, while this leans very heavily into that. And as much as it's fun to read this Southern talk, it makes it slightly hard to read because, especially for me, reading that in my head doesn't compute. I have to say it to myself out loud, which is so fun. I love doing it for myself, Southern accent. It just doesn't work, and I don't understand what's being said. I'll be like, whatever? What does whatever mean? And I'll be like, oh, it's whatever, whatever. And then I understand what it means. So I feel like that person, like as much fun as it was for me, like I like being able to practice an accent and it's fun for my own personal enjoyment. I just don't think that's personally something that I love having in a book, especially when I'm trying to read it on a free time for fun. It is a lot of work for my brain. So it definitely also makes it that I can only read it in certain environments. While one of my favorite places to read is on public transports, that's where I get most of my reading done. So this kind of hindered my ability to be able to read this on public transport. So, and I didn't want to audiobook it. I'm like really tired of audiobooks at this point. So, yeah. So I think that's mostly why I'm not rating this as high. But I think a lot of people would read this and would really love it. And I totally understand the people who do really love this book. I think that's a totally valid um like choice. I also think that personally for me, I really like the first part of the book, and the like part 1 is great. I think that part 2 is really flat. I think part 2 is pretty flat for me. Like I understand why part 2 has to be there and everything, but it just felt very flat compared to part 1, which I found much more enjoyable. And even when you go into part 3 is I find a lot more enjoyable than part 2 is as well. Because part 3 like includes this amazing plot twist that's incredibly well done, and I really like the specific lines in there. There's specific lines in part 3 that I think are just so beautiful and so well said. So I felt like that was missing in part 2. Then thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope that any of these books that I've read have pushed you to want to read them too, or that have opened your diversity to books as well as mine have. Comment down below your thoughts if you've read any of these books, or if you're planning to read any of these books. I'd love to see if I've influenced anybody. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe the video if you want to see more content. Thank you. Bye.